All right, going in 5, 4, 3, 2. What's going on, everybody? It's Bronckley here, and we're heading another episode of the Six Gaming Podcast, episode number 53. Unfortunately, Show was supposed to be back this week, but apparently he's overslept. So I've got our Gold Goblin with us this week.
It's an extra light podcast this week.
Yeah, I think this may be the lightest that we've had.
I think there was one other time. It was the Ronckley and Penth show.
It might have been, but it's just a nice short podcast this week. But we're not short on news at all. As we get into the news of the week, WoW Insider's gone as of Tuesday.
I haven't looked a lot about it. What actually happened?
AOL runs the parent. I don't want to call it company, but the parent website joystick.com,
right.
JOYSTIQ, and AOL's getting rid of it. WoW Insider is part of that, and as a result, that's it. They've been on the air for 9.5 years. Obviously, it's one of the biggest resources for World of Warcraft news, and just as an example of that, I was looking up the news for, I'm not going to give it away, but Penth's got some Warcraft-related news as well, and I couldn't find the news I was looking for on any site but WoW Insider. I mean, that's how big losing this website is for the WoW community, and it makes me wonder. That we got some very talented individuals writing these articles. It makes you wonder if someone's going to pick them up sooner rather than later.
I hope someone picks up the whole. I mean, someone can save them. Someone else could jump in and pick up the company if AOL wanted to sell it. I mean, it makes sense that they. I mean, I don't know what their financial strategy is, but it makes sense that if someone gives them any money for it rather than just getting rid of it, but having to pay out severance and stuff. There is a financial balance.
Even if they are getting severance, I mean, they may not get severance. We don't know what the details are.
Right, but what I'm saying is,
it could just be a layoff.
It may be right. Well, I'm saying it may be cheaper for them to just completely get rid of it than to actually sell it, which would be kind of weird. But sometimes that happens. Just as an alternative, the only place that I've recently found that usually has the same stories, not as good, but MMO Champion.
Yeah, of course, MMO Champion's also been around for quite some time. But another one, Wowhead has also started. Getting really good with their news. Not on the level of WoW Insider, mind you, but I mean, WoW Insider was more than just news. There's also very much a community with like a couple of like to name a few of their articles, like the Queue, for instance, where readers write their questions into the staff, or like Round Azeroth, which was their screenshot submissions article. They would feature machinima videos, stuff like that. So, I mean, they did a lot of things that other websites don't do. So it's definitely a big loss for the community.
And just to jump in there, tangentially related, because you said machinima, and that reminded me. And this is actually like a month old. I just happened to notice Freeman's Mind. If anybody watched that, Freeman's Mind finally ended on episode 68 last month. So if you've been hanging around watching that series for the last however many years he's been making it, that's finally done. If you want to go watch it, if you'd forgotten about it.
Yes, absolutely. And there's one other bit of news that I wanted to put out there as well. Lorna's closing comments from last week were 2 words: exploding kittens. And exploding kittens, for those that don't know, I've actually looked this up. It's a card game, very much like Cards Against Humanity, that it was designed by the guy who does the oatmeal.com. And there's also some high-level Xbox execs in on this as well. And this game is now the most backed Kickstarter ever.
Cards Against Humanity was I think at one point the highest, and people basically, if you can make something like it and better, then why not?
And when you bring, I don't know about you guys, but the oatmeal has been a source of hilarity for me for quite some time. Uh, to have that guy involved in the art for this is just amazing. And I've seen some of the pictures of it. It's pretty funny. So yeah, check it out, Exploding Kittens.
The tagline is a card game for people who are into kittens and explosions
Yes.
and laser beams and sometimes goats.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hand it over to you, Dan. What you got for news?
Just something kind of minor, but something that I thought was interesting. So one of the things that I don't know if it's been data mined or announced or whatever, but the heirloom tab, as I think I mentioned last podcast, is coming in 6.1, which will be very nice. You won't have to worry about having multiple copies of your heirlooms or whatever. You basically, and I don't know if they'll automatically add it to your tab or if you're going to have to put them into the tab, kind of like your toy box. But you will have like a list of all your heirlooms, and you can click on one and you'll generate a copy of that heirloom. And as of yet, they haven't said if that's going to cost anything. I think it's just going to be free. You'll just make one copy of that heirloom. You won't be able to trade it for anything. You won't be able to disenchant it. It'll just kind of be a copy.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because that makes one of the problems that I always had was shipping those things around to the alts.
Yeah, which is a big pain in the butt.
Got a really easy way of doing it.
So there's kind of a meta achievement included in that now. That's going to be, and they haven't announced how much you have to have, like some number of heirlooms. Some people were asking if you need the ring from the fishing expo or whatever, and they said they haven't announced that yet, but whatever it is, there's going to be a level 1 mount that you can use immediately at level 1. It's a chauffeur, which
level 1. Very
I
nice.
think it would be cool if it's like a little rickshaw, like carried by some ethereal creature or something, but
You know what I think it should be?
I don't know.
It should be your highest geared main.
That would be
That would be
amazing.
that would like totally be the point of the heirlooms, to
Yeah.
help out your alts.
Yeah, I like that.
Who better to help out your alt than your main?
It's even if it's someone on another realm. So like you could have a horde, like a super high geared troll, like carrying around a human.
That'd be so funny. I'd love that.
That's non-canon.
Very much non-canon. But yeah, that's and this just goes back. I think we've talked about these patches in the past where they just continually improve quality of life for the players in their UI. Their UI's gotten so much better over the years.
Oh yeah.
And they're just continuing to keep it up, I guess.
Well, just
I'm still
even
waiting
stuff
for the
like
tab. Awesome.
yeah, that's the next one. And the other thing that I kind of like, and I understand that it's sort of it's hard to do, but they made a big improvement when they made it so you could queue for multiple dungeons and raids at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But if they could make it so that you could queue and then go onto an alt, and then you'd get a pop-up on your alt that like would say,
Yeah, that would be a little hard to do because I'm sure for people that have like no add-ons, that would be quick to switch over. But I run about 200 plus add-ons, and it takes a considerable amount of time for me to load. So
Yep.
I'm thinking about that, and that would just delay the people that are trying to get into the dungeon.
Yep, that's exactly the reason why I think that there would be an issue. You'd have to either, I don't know. There's really no good way to do it. And the other thing you'd have to do is like limit it. So obviously you couldn't queue for everything on every alt,
Right.
and then
That'd be really
sit
hard.
on one and wait for all of your queues to pop. But
But it is really nice. Like, for instance, after the podcast, I usually go in and do my LFRs for the week, and I just queue up for all three of them with my wife, and within an hour, we're usually done. I mean, it
even now
goes
it should be faster than that. Like, I mean, maybe I've just had good luck with LFRs, but I haven't.
well,
wiped
last week
a single
we had
LFR.
some trolls on the last boss that were
Oh.
pulling things, and
Yeah.
like the boss, and yeah, it took the group forever to figure out who both was doing it and kick him out. So I was just hanging out in my garrison until we sorted it out, and it took us forever to do that one. It took us longer to do that one than it did the other two.
I learned something interesting today, since I seem to be the king of getting around places that I'm not supposed to be able to get around.
Uh-huh.
Uh, someone early pulled bracken spore, and as it happens, if you that like wall of air goes up to block the path,
Mm-hmm.
you can jump around to the left side of it uh, and get around it. So if you get locked out, you
You don't
can
really get
actually
locked out. You
you
can
can
still
actually
get in.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can still
very
get in.
interesting. But that's just on bracken spore due to the mushroom terrain, I imagine.
There's like some rocks. There's some rocks that
Yeah.
you can get up there and get around. It's
Interesting.
not quite as hacky as the time that I accidentally skipped uh, Golden Lotus, Corrupted Lotus, or whatever that they were called, Guardians.
Yep, you got a belt for that if I remember right.
Yeah,
Hole in the
no one will
trash
ever.
beyond
It's
there.
probably retired.
No, it's still there. I just saw it not too long ago, and oh yeah, I remember Dan doing that. So, all right. So very cool. That wraps up the news this week. We're gonna go on to the game pick of the week. Yeah, keep going, Dan.
All right. My game is a little game on the mobile called Crossy Road,
Wait, hold on,
which
hold on, hold on, hold on. Wait.
yeah.
Why are you picking this game?
Um, because I like Frogger. That's really why. Because I have fond memories of Frogger, and I happened to come across it. I was like, oh, it's Frogger. No, it's Evil Frogger. It's, I believe, by the guy who made Swing Copter and Flappy Bird, or maybe he was involved. I don't know. I thought I saw something about that.
I'll actually look that up because they used to have a website called CrossyRoad.com. That was down at the time I decided to check it out just now. So let's see, developers. One of the developers is Matt Hall. I don't know. I don't think this
Yeah,
is.
maybe it's not related, but it's just you tap to go forward. You can swipe left and right to go left and right,
Mm-hmm.
and you just try to go as many steps as you can. There's traffic and logs and stuff. It's basically, in Frogger you had to get each of your frogs to the other side and into the slots. So this is just one character infinite Frogger,
And
and
to
you get
confirm, it's not the developer of the other one is Gear Studios. The developer of Crossy Road is Hipster Whale. It's just
okay,
not involved with it's
different guy.
not Yundong.
Um, anyhow, it's just kind of fun, stupid, frustrating, infinite Frogger.
Yeah, there's something about these infinite run games have a certain appeal to them.
Hmm.
Like I know that I got caught into Temple Run and Temple Run 2, um, and for sometimes Subway Surfers as well. Those are all like the same kind of idea where you have this infinite playfield in front of you, and your goal is to get as far as you can, get the most points. Um, and there's a lot. I mean, a lot of the like the AAA games these days, they don't have any kind of concept of this,
No,
and it makes the competition different, I think.
yeah,
And I really appreciate these smaller games doing stuff like that.
yeah.
So
I mean, it's just I'll probably play it for another week and then delete it. But it's just you can load it up and play very quickly and play a couple games of it. Like it's not something that you get into and you're like, oh shit, I gotta go into work or whatever.
right.
You can play for 5 minutes or less and still just amuse yourself.
And I imagine it's not a game like the Zynga games where you get a certain number of lives and then you have to wait half an hour to purchase.
No, the only thing that has microtransactions is there's different characters, and
Well, that's kind of cool.
yeah, like, and they don't do anything different. I mean, a couple of them have there's a wizard, and every once in a while, like a lightning bolt comes out of his wand and blows something up, but it's all cosmetic.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah. It's nice to have less and less pay to win games. The
yeah,
less pay to win games there are, the better.
yeah, basically just skins. There's some skins.
Yep. All right. So that is Crossy Road. So my game, I picked this. This game's actually been around for a while. I actually got done playing this a while back, but there were so many games since between them and now that I decided to pick up as game of the week. That I haven't really been able to get around to this, but I've kind of had a little slow week this week. So I picked up a while back a game that's called, well, it's not really called anything. It's a bunch of spikes, which is lettered with 6 V's. So that's the name of the game, VVVVV. I call it spikes because that's what it looks like. And that's exactly what you're trying to avoid, is you're trying to avoid landing on spikes. It's a platformer. Your main ability is to be able to switch the gravity, so you can go, you're either falling down or you're falling up. There's like various things, like there's these lines that work like trampolines or whatever that switch your gravity for you. There's lots of obstacles to avoid, and there's some parts that are pretty insanely hard. There's a world map that you have to find all your crew. You have to rescue your crew and find out why the universe is collapsing, and basically try to save the universe. Now, this game, it's out on iOS and also Android. You can also get it on Steam. I don't know if Steam's got this, but the one on the iPad has a bunch of user-created levels as well, which, it extends the game. There's also challenges. There's also a mode where you have 1 life. If you lose the life, you lose the game. I would never be able to play that because there is one part of that game that is so freaking hard. Like there's like 6 or 7 screens in succession that you have to jump all the way to the top and come all the way back down, and of course it's a maze in between. You have to remember what the maze looks like, and I probably spent most time on those rooms, probably at least 2 hours getting through those rooms. It was so challenging, but I eventually got it, and ended up just beating the game on the softcore mode, I guess. But it's a fun game. It's definitely got its moments for challenge, and definitely recommend picking it up. So, yeah, that's about it. Dan, what you drinking this week?
Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm backing Exploding Kittens currently.
You're what? Oh.
I'm doing the Kickstarter for Exploding Kittens.
Oh, very nice. All right, so let's get.
I remember seeing the Cards Against Humanity one and thinking, oh, I kind of like that. I could have gotten that for like $20, and I didn't do it. So
I think Caddy plays that actually. That's the Caddy's got a game night every week, and I think their game night started playing that Cards Against Humanity.
It's a great game.
So, yeah. Anyway, so we're going to go into the LCS update here. Of course, last week was pretty amazing. Cloud9 ended the week 0-2 in North America, which is the first time that they've been in last place. And they were the only team that went 0-2. Team Liquid, of course, went 2-0, while everyone else went 1-1. So fast forward to the EU LCS, and I'm looking at the standings for the EU LCS, and it's looking exactly like it did last year, with Fnatic and SK Gaming on top. Elements, who used to be Alliance, they're just 1 game back, and of course Gambit Gaming in last place. It's no surprise to anyone. The standings, just interesting to see where the new guys are. Giants Gaming's actually 4th. Tied for 4th with H2K and Unicorns of Love. They're all 2-2. They're all 3 of the newcomers. So EU LCS, yeah, like I said, it's not looking any different than it did last year. We had the first day of the NALCS today, and things seem to be back to normal. We had Cloud9, they beat Team Liquid, so there's no perfect teams anymore. Team Solo Mid, they beat Winter Fox. Counter Logic Gaming got a win. Team 8 got a good win. It was a pretty good day today, except in my fantasy league. Veg is just going to crush me this week. I had Reckless get me 71 points, so the rest of my team has 49. That's not good. So I did beat Coles last week, which is good, and I think Veg also beat Sweet Tooth as well. But Sweet Tooth's looking really good against Coles too. He's got some powerhouses in there from the EU LCS, and then of course TSM did really well today, and he's got 2 TSM guys. So we could have a 0-2 Coles, which would be awesome. But I'm hoping to come back against Veg. I just don't think it's possible. He's got the really good players this week. So Sucks. Anyway, enough about the LCS. Where you at? How much gold you got now?
I'm at 417,000. I'm up 15 to 16,000 from last week.
You still holding on to that amount?
I'm still holding on to the rooster egg. It's just not. It's not a good time to sell it right now. There's too many people that have it. Whatever it is that was going on, where people were buying it. I mean, so it was around 600,000 on our server, and worldwide that was about the average. Right now, the global average sale price is about 225,000.
Yeah.
Some people think that maybe it's not a dupe. Maybe it's just Chinese are just buying up all the cards and selling them off to like meet quotas for Chinese gold farming, which is possible.
It's one hell of a way to gold farm.
Yeah, well, I mean, what it really means is that over time the price is going to go back up. But there's two issues with it. The first is that a lot of people who have wanted one for a while probably bought one. So my market is down. The other problem is that a lot of people did exactly what I did, and they bought one cheap, expecting to sell it later for profit. So now there might be a whole bunch of people hanging on to them that bought it at like 200 that are completely happy to sell it for 300 when really the fair price is more like 500.
Right.
So sitting on that.
Yep.
So my tip for the week is related to Trade Skill Master again, and it's using the sniper tool. And what the sniper tool does, and there are other programs that do it. You don't have to use.
Put a bullet in the heads of your enemies.
No. You run it while you're sitting at the auction house, and it constantly scans the final page of the auction. So all the most recent auctions, and you can put in rules.
Oh, Auctioneer has a tool like that.
Yeah, Auctioneer has it as well. And you can put in rules and say, only look for items on this list, or only look for items that are under the vendor price,
right?
Or only look for items that are under this specific price. So you can put in like any item that's under 50% of the average sale value on your realm.
Right, very nice. Now, the Auctioneer one, I don't know if you know this, it scans both the first and the last page so that it gets the ones that just got posted, and then it gets ones that are expiring that might have a good bid value.
Nah. I did not know that. I have not played with Auctioneer, Auctionator. I played with them some, but I mostly use TSM.
Now, Auctioneer was my big one back when I was doing all the enchanting stuff. So what I'd do is I'd sit there with that on and be doing other stuff, and whenever I saw a dialog box come up, I'd just click a button, and I'd either buy something that was new or bid on something that was about to expire.
Yeah.
It's usually for a good deal.
So one of the things you can use a sniper for is, like, some people have seen, like, oh, they tried to post Savage Blood for 800 each, but they accidentally posted 50 for 800.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're fast enough, you can grab it. Now, sometimes people are like, oh my god, that was a mistake, and you can basically not bribe them, but, I mean, they're like, oh, I need that, and be like, well, I'll give them back to you if you give me X amount of gold, or you can send half of them back. You know, you can negotiate with them, but Blizz isn't gonna just take them away from you. I mean, they made a mistake when they posted, and that's their problem.
Right.
The other thing you can do is look for. Some people have had success with the BOEs, the mythic BOEs.
Oh yeah.
Because some people get the whatever they are, 695, 685.
Yeah, what they'll do is they'll take a guild in to kill Kargath, and then for the rest of the week they'll just have a group in there just farming all the trash mobs, hoping for BOE drops. Right.
And so what sometimes happens is someone will get a BOE drop that they can't use, and they will go to post it and say it's, I don't know, Throat Ripper Gauntlets. That's there's all the different versions of it. And the regular one's selling for, like, I don't know, 5K, 8K, something like that. Well, the mythic Warforged one obviously should be significantly more than that, maybe like 50K or something like that. Well, some people just drag it into the sales box and they see that the highest one right now is $6.99, and they'll post for, $6.98, and you can grab that and either use it because, I mean, hell, if you can use that piece, then that's a really great discount on a really high eye level piece, or you can resell it in trade chat or whatever, and even if you sell it for 10K, significantly less than the actual fair market price, you're still going to make a lot of profit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And does it just? You said it has a bunch of rules. I mean, as a person that used to play the Enchanting Market, does it look for stuff like that too? Will it buy greens up that are good for disenchanting value, or does it just compare it to what the average price for the item is?
It compares it to the average price, but I think there's a way to set it up. Like you can, actually, I think there's a disenchant source.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be able to set it up for, I only see crafting. Oh no, yeah, there it is, disenchant. So if you put into the sniper options, you say anything that is less than the disenchant value, then it'll show you anything that's less than the disenchant value.
All right, very nice. So, yeah, sniping. It's not just for Americans anymore, I guess. All right, so gonna get into the 6 minutes update. There's just not a whole lot to update on now. I want to go back and talk about where we were during Throne of Thunder. And Dan, you were with us pretty heavily during that time. I think that was right before you had your kid, right?
Yeah, I got into Siege. No, I was in Throne at the beginning part of Throne, and then no, that was when I wasn't with us a lot. We were stuck on Horden for a really long time, and I was.
Horden, then we'd have to bring in your priest, or we'd have to bring in your paladin, depending on whether or not we
or tank. And then Siege came out, and I was very heavily in Siege. Actually, that was when I was captain, and we got. I was the leader for the first kills for like 4 or 5 different bosses, and then my son was born, and I was gone for most of the second half of Siege. Yeah.
Go with since then.
Since then.
But anyway, yeah, of course, Throne of Thunder. We had a feature a while back asking when we thought the worst time in the guild was, and at the time I had answered that this was during the 5.2, 5.3 patch series. And of course, basically what had happened is that we had gotten so depleted in terms of people wanting to raid that we ended up, we were either canceling raids or we'd have to bring in 2, 3, 4 people in just to fill the spots. At the time, we had talked about the various things that we could do, and we ended up switching servers from Corial Straws to Lightbringer. When we did that, we kind of had to start over. We went back to the tier, what was it, the tier 13 stuff, I guess it would be, or 13 and 14, I don't remember which it is.
Yeah, I remember.
It was just basically all the 5.0 raids. We'd be going through Toes, and Toes was our big one because that was a short 4-person raid, and a lot of people still wanted to get in there to clear it. We played around in there for a while, but eventually we did get back up to full strength, and we went through SOO. We ended up clearing SOO on what was at the time normal. We didn't do heroic because we didn't have the people that wanted to do heroic really, but we at least tried. We had one night where we went in and gave it a shot, learned a little bit about the fight, couldn't get anything down, but generally things were looking up. We had killed the end boss long before the X-Pack ended, and things were looking pretty good. Then Warlords of Draenor hit, and first of all, we lost 5 healers and 1 DPS, and that I'm not sure we've recovered from that yet. 2 weeks ago, I came on here and I talked about how great our raid week went. We had killed 6 of the guys in Highmall, and we had like most of the night on the 7th, and we even came back in on Monday and had most of the night on the 7th, the whole night on that 7th boss there. We took down Heroic Kargath, which was, that was a big deal for us. So, we're now 1 of 7. We actually have a kill in Heroic. And then I'm not sure what happened. We came in on Tuesday the following week. We only killed 2 guys. We struggled heavily on Butcher and just didn't have enough experience to take down Brackenstore. We canceled Wednesday's raid. We canceled Thursday's raid. We canceled Sunday's raid. 3 days in a row we had. In the Guild's defense, on Wednesday I was not feeling well and was pretty much unwilling to pug that night. But I mean, we still only had good night anyway. But Thursday and Sunday were terrible. With the help of a lot of friends, we had 4 people in from outside the guild on Monday to help us basically get to all the farm bosses that we have. I consider the first 5 bosses of normal to be on farm. Korag, we've only killed once. Imperator, that's where we are right now. So Tuesday this past week came, and we still needed help. I think we pugged 3 or 4 spots. We had this one druid that was funny. There was a very funny moment that happened in there. Basically, he was calling out my heals, and my heals were well above what he said, and were even beating him. So it was fairly amusing. But we ended up downing our 5 farm bosses that night. And we were sitting, and I was really hoping we could get in there on Wednesday and look at Korag and see what we could do. I had to cancel Wednesday's raid. We only had 4 people. And on Thursday, it was just me, Sully, and Rush, and that was it. No one else. There were even people on, other than the 3 of us. But the only people that were there to raid were me, Sully, and Rush. And this is not sitting well with me. A lot of you guys know that me and Sully have been considering moving. That is pretty much going to happen one way or the other. Out to San Francisco. We'll be in the Pacific time zone. When raids start at 6 server time, it's going to be 6 o'clock for us. Knowing the area, I'm not entirely sure that we're going to be able to keep going as a guild. We don't have anyone other than me that could lead raids right now. And as it stands, I mean, I'm really hoping that this period is just a little bit of burnout from Highmall. We only have 1 raid to go into. We only have 7 bosses to look at. Tuesday, we start up the new raid. It's Black Rock Foundry. There's 10 bosses in there. Who knows what we're going to do? I haven't even looked at the bosses yet. We'll definitely go in there on Tuesday as long as we have a raid. If we have a raid, we're going in on Tuesday. No question. But what's been happening the last 2 weeks is unsustainable. Me and Sully have had, we've talked about this. We're not meeting what our goals are, not just for the guild, but for our own rating, our own rating experience. And I'm really starting to question if the guild's going to make our move out there. We've been around for 7 years, and things haven't looked worse than they have now. And I'm not really sure what needs to be done to turn that around. Now, of course, we've had a lot of people out. Adari's been out with a computer. She's just coming back this weekend. Shosan's been out for months. He's just coming back this week. So he's still got a level. He's still level 90. So he's still got to level up. Nymphadora's been out with an issue. As a result, Warden's not been raiding. I'm sure I'm sure he's not just going to come by himself. He has sometimes, but I mean, if Nymph's not there, more often than not, Warden's not there either. We've had a lot of the new guys. Last week were pretty good at showing up, but this week, no, we haven't had. And like I said, yesterday was me, Sully, and Rush. That's all people that have been here from the previous X-Pack. I can't help but think we're looking at the twilight of the guild. I don't know how else to say it. So unless something really happens next week, we may have an issue on our hands. Because, I still enjoy raiding, but I'm not enjoying having to sit here and constantly beg for people to raid. It's awful. I know a lot of people have a lot of things to do, but a lot of us made this move so that we could keep raiding, and I don't see people doing that. So, I mean, that's all I really have to say about it. It's very frustrating.
And I'm not GM, so I don't have a whole lot to add. But
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, for anyone listening to this, I would say get on the Facebook group and say why you can't. I mean, maybe it's just bad luck. I mean, sometimes you just get those weeks when everyone's got stuff going on. I mean,
It's been 2 weeks in a row, man. And
yeah.
now keep in mind, I'm not expecting there to even be a raid tomorrow, for obvious reasons. Super Bowl Sunday. I'm sorry. Ooh, I'm gonna get fined by the NFL. Ooh, don't want that happening. The big game Sunday.
It's the superb owl.
Yes. So I mean Sunday. The Sundays definitely people aren't going to be there because they're going to be somewhere else. But Monday, and after that for quite some time, there's not going to be anything going on.
I hope that tomorrow, if you get Pepe or Pepe or whatever the hell that little bird is, I hope he's the superb owl and you get a huge buff if you have him tomorrow.
That would be funny. I don't think it's going to happen though. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the guild right now. That's where we're at. It's not been good. So hopefully that this message can get out and either we can find out what's going on with people and see what we can do, or the alternatives look bleak. We've already moved servers. We've tried that. We've been in guilding like heck. We've probably gotten at least 12.5 people since the start of the X-Pack. It's been a big number that we've gotten in. I mean, we got 4 on one night. That was pretty huge. So one of them hasn't shown up since. We haven't seen Kara.
That happens.
But yeah, on average, I would expect a number of people, a certain percentage of people to show up, and last week or two it hasn't happened. So I don't know. Well, I'm gonna end the update on that, and let's get rid of these bad vibes here and get to Sleepy Boy's favorite part of the podcast. Yeah, that's right, your Sleepy Boy show. And we're gonna go with what the fuck are you listening to? Now, a little background on this. Earlier last week, Riot Games put out a video called "Curse of the Sad Mummy," and if you haven't seen it, first of all, go see it. It is powerful and just the art of the video and the song itself, very amazingly done. Well, that prompted me to come up with this week's question: what is the saddest song that you have heard? Well, I just said we were going to be happy, and now we're going to get into sad songs. I fail. That's all I can say.
Badly.
Yes. So I've talked a lot. Dan, what you got?
As a kid, I liked this song. I thought it was a cool song about a kid and his dad. It's "Cats in the Cradle" by Harry Chapin.
You like this song?
Do I like this song? When as a kid, I liked this song, and it's catchy anyway. Now as a father, it's like, wow, that is a terrible song.
That's an awful song.
it's depressing as hell. And it reminds me also kind of tangentially of that "I'll Love You Forever" book. I don't know if you've seen or heard or read it as a kid or something, but it's about the mom, she loves the son or whatever, and she always holds him in her arms and sings a song to him. and then like he moves away and doesn't see her very often. I did notice as an adult now, she drives to his house with a ladder on top of her station wagon and climbs in through his window and hugs him because he doesn't come to her house enough, which is really super creepy, and maybe that's why he doesn't visit her very often.
Yeah, if my mom did that, I would just freak out.
Yeah.
Just
anyway,
like climbing through your window and stuff. That's like, what?
hide your wife.
Right?
She's hugging everyone around her. Anyway, so it's the song. The song's basically about.
You get a face palm for that, Dan.
Yeah.
Just.
The song's about like the kid wants to play. Well, the dad was away when the son was born, and the kid wants to play baseball, and the dad's too busy with work, and then the kid wants to like hang out, the dad's too busy with work, and then like the kid is like, the dad's like, oh yeah, we should hang out, and the kid's like, nah, just give me the car keys, and then the dad said, oh, you should come visit, and he's like, nah, sorry, I'm busy with my wife and the kids and work, and nice talking to you though. So, and it's about how the kid turned out just like the dad. Like he wanted his son to be like him, but it turned out to be like him in the negative ways.
Yes. Yeah. I actually didn't know that song until Ugly Kid Joe came out with it shortly after their big hit.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
I Hate Everything About You?
No.
Oh, you don't know that song?
Maybe.
Oh my God, that was like from the 90s.
Yeah.
Really good song. They came out. That was their next single, I believe. But right after that was that song, and that's how I originally knew the song. But of course, I know the Harry Chapin version a lot better now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Cats in the Cradle. My choice. Now I had to really think about this, but once I landed on this song, it was a no-brainer. And my song is Elton John's Candle in the Wind. Now, the original version is about Marilyn Monroe, of course, but that's not the song I'm picking. The one I'm picking is the one he sang at Princess Diana's funeral. And that performance was just almost tear-jerking. It was so sad, and then, like, at the end you could hear that the emotion in his voice, and he had said afterwards that at that particular point in the song that he just told himself, I'm not going to break down in tears, I'm not going to cry. And it was powerful, to link that together with that point in the song. They played that song for like about a month on the radio afterwards.
A ton. Yeah.
Oh man, I mean the coverage of that was just insane. I don't know, something about the way that he sung that song, and it wasn't, I didn't even have like a connection with Princess Diana. She was just like this tabloid figure to me. But the music that he put together and the way he performed that song was
well, I mean, you could tell, like, I mean, he knew her, like, I mean, you can tell that he cared.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the two were actually friends too. I mean, it's not like he was singing about someone he didn't know.
Right.
That's probably what made it even harder for him.
Sure.
So the fact that he was able to get through that performance was just amazing. So there are two other songs that I'd like to bring up. Brox, the other Gold Goblin here, he came up with the song called Dear John by Styx. I don't think I know that song.
I don't.
Do you know that song?
Nope.
Well, slowly shaking your head no. So I'll have to check that one out. And then Sleepyhead. I'll get to that one. Sleepyhead was going to do something called Bonnie Ship the Diamond by Wolfstone.
Don't know that either.
That one either. So, Sully's coming up with Ben Folds 5 Brick. That's a pretty depressing song.
Yeah, most people don't realize what that song's about.
Oh, absolutely not.
They're just like, oh yeah, I like that song. At the time, it was just kind of played on the radio all the time, so people, I don't think, listen to the lyrics very much.
But yeah, that is definitely one of the more depressing songs out there. So, but yeah, that just about does it. How the heck did we manage to go all the way to 11 with just you and me?
We started 15 minutes late, and
there's that. I mean,
had a bunch of depressing guild news.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was more than just that, though. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff. So, Also, Shosan's game pick of the week. He might do it next week, so I'm not going to go with that. But yeah, that's about it. Any closing comments?
I'm gonna find out if a 645 geared healer can what old raids I'm able to do.
Good luck with that. I
So
have a hard time soloing stuff as holy.
I,
Always have to go
I
red.
I finally finished up on 10th. I did all my raids up through I think Dragon Soul. I got everything up through Dragon Soul by myself.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if I can do that on this tune too, and we'll see.
Yep. Well, as for me, I've got my main capped out on Apexa shards and nothing to buy. So I'm waiting for the next next patch rather, when the limit goes up and they'll have that fourth tier of shard gear. So hopefully they've got something for me. It's like I don't have any reason right now to run LFR on Ronkly at all. So I'm probably not going to be running him tonight. I'll be running
I'm
Ronkly
still
instead.
collecting my stones.
Yeah, the Abrogator stones.
Yep.
Yeah, I finished those off last week. I'm working on the elemental ones now, which you don't get in this current raid. So, yeah, so I'll be running the priest for a bit, I guess. But other than that, I think we're just about done here. Yeah, for Six Gaming Podcasts, I'm Ronkley.
I'm Pat.
And we'll see you next week. See you, bye.